Hey golfers, and welcome back to the Second Swing YouTube channel. I'm Drew Mahowald here today at Second Swing headquarters, and today we're mixing up a little bit. I know you're used to club comparisons, reviews, things like that, but we have a very special guest joining us today. Today is National Girls and Women in Sports Day, and so to help celebrate that, we have a very special guest. Her name is Kate Smith, and Kate Smith has put together a phenomenal career as an amateur and college golfer and is now transitioning to being a professional golfer. So, Kate, thank you for joining us, taking the time today. And how's the how's 2022 going for you so far?
Drew, thanks for having me. Love being a part of anything Second Swing, so happy to be here. 2022 is going well. I finished Q school in late 2021, so got that off my back and just kind of getting ready for my new season on Epson Tour, which used to be the Symmetra Tour, and then doing some graphic design as well. So just came back from Florida, tried to play a Monday qualifier there, and yeah, just getting back into the swing of things, trying to get better every day.
There you go, and that's awesome because it appears to be that you're somewhere warm right now, which is not the case here in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, where I think the temperature is for sure single digits or maybe lower, and the wind chill is like -10. So I respect that you're in the warm, and with your golf career already off to a start here, you're able to hang out in the winters in a warm climate. So you're already out. You're doing good things. You're doing great things already. So with that said, I did want to ask and kind of get started here today, as people roll in and are watching today, but just get your background. How you got into golf, where you're from, and kind of tell us what led you to the game of golf, and then eventually led you to this awesome career.
Yeah, I grew up in Minnesota, Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, home of the Pine and Palm, and
Nice.
where my dad works as a PGA pro. My parents bought a par 3 course up there. We don't have the par 3 course anymore, but my parents run junior clinics out of Lakeview Golf Course up north. So I love Minnesota, and I think the MGA and the Minnesota PGA were definitely a huge part of making me the golfer I am today. I think Minnesota, we're kind of like we're a dark, kind of a dark threat in golf. I think there's a ton of great golf courses and a great golf culture. So grew up there. My brother went to Drake University in Des Moines. He played golf, so he was always kind of took me out practicing and was my biggest role model. And I obviously wanted to follow and play golf in college and wanted to go to a Big Ten school. So I went to Nebraska, and I love my time there. So it's been great. I think anybody in golf knows that it's amazing where the sport takes you and the people you can meet. So I'm enjoying every minute of it.
For sure, and I'm curious too, because you had talked about your brother's interest in golf and how that kind of maybe helped you get into it and maybe realize that you wanted to play that college or have that college career. When did you realize, maybe what age, maybe it was in high school, or maybe it was before that even, where you realized that you really had a special talent here and that you could play at that Division I level?
Yeah, my brother was always a lot more serious than I was. I kind of just had fun and tried to do my best. My 8th grade year, I won state as an individual by quite a few shots, and I was the youngest person to win state in Minnesota. And so I think that was when I think even my parents and I looked at each other like, what just happened? So I think that was kind of a moment where we're like, yeah, this is probably something I should look into doing in college and maybe as a career. But really the professional golf, I'm taking that day by day, and that's how I was in college too. So just enjoying it as it comes.
Yeah, well, clearly you made a good decision to pursue that, because it's definitely worked out for you. And one thing, obviously today, as I mentioned, is National Girls and Women in Sports Day, and so I did want to kind of get some of your perspective on that throughout the discussion today. And one of those things I wanted to ask you was, golf is, let's face it, kind of a male-dominated sport, male-dominated game, and obviously we're trying to do what we can to invite women into the stores for fittings, invite women to pursue golf as a a fun activity to do. But so is that something that you were thinking about, or maybe you noticed growing up and even now, that is that something that's on your mind, that while I'm playing a game, playing a sport, that a lot of it's mostly men, or is that not something that's really on your mind at all?
I think it depends on the day. I think any competitive female golfer has gotten a lot of comments here and there. I mean, mostly positive comments, but when we play the back tees, it's like, oh wow, you're not going to play the women's tees today, and things like that.
Sure. Hmm.
I mean, you're always kind of the only female on the range, but luckily, like brands like you guys, as well as a lot of other nonprofits and PJ pros have really worked hard to grow the game and make it more diverse. So I feel like I've been a benefit of really the sport being more inclusive, and I've had a lot more opportunities than the generation before me. So it's awesome to see those things happening.
Yeah, that's actually a great point there. That trend does seem to be kind of getting more inclusive. Of course, there's work to do for sure, and to make sure it's completely inclusive, and there's kind of that fair opportunity on both sides. But certainly good to see that you are noticing the benefit that you've received that maybe prior generations didn't. So again, we are happy to have you on. A lot of because your success and being from Minnesota brand here, and then the fact that you did accomplish so much at Nebraska, and that's kind of wanted to get into now is I looked we looked at your kind of record at Nebraska, some of the accomplishments that were rolling there on your bio page, and is this I think this is correct, 21 top 10 finishes in addition to your Big Ten title and your All-American recognitions. That seems like a pretty really dominant performance, especially in that last year in 2021 where you had all kinds of recognitions.
Yeah, I got to take a fifth year because of COVID, and really thought that it was kind of my second chance on the college career I wanted to have. And I had a solid college career up until that point, but really tried to work really hard and put a lot of thought into what I'm doing every day to get better. And it really paid off, and kind of a storybook ending for my college career, it was really fun.
Actually, you said storybook ending, and I realized when I look back at the leaderboard, you shot a 64 in that last round of the Big Ten championship to win that title. Talk through that, because I can't imagine, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe this is exactly what you thought was going to happen, but I can't imagine you woke up that day. I believe you were near the top of the leaderboard, and you're thinking, well, 64, that's my number today.
Yeah, I was six back. I actually called my teammate like 2 days ago, and she said, Kate, I remember you saying, like, we were in the hotel room the night before, and you said, oh, we're like, I'm still in this. Like, I can shoot something tomorrow, which is kind of funny because looking back, I don't know if I teed off knowing what I was going to shoot, but
Right.
I think it was one of those moments where, you get into, people call it the zone or the flow state. And I mean, I couldn't miss that round. And having my family there and everything, it was a really fun round of golf. And I think like winning Big Tens was amazing, but I think as golfers know, like just shooting 64 when it matters was probably even better. So
Right.
it was a lot of fun, and a great memory that I had from college, and gave me a lot of confidence to turn pro and continue with it throughout the summer and the fall.
Was that a career low for you too, or no? Just because it'd be really cool to have that be your career low round, right, when it mattered the
Yeah,
absolute most. But
I think it tied my career low in college. So
okay,
no
wow,
complaints
that's
there.
really impressive. That's really impressive to see that, especially again given the circumstances. And then, so we talked about a little bit about the Big Ten win, but then I think another one of the big accomplishments that you've had, and I think one of the things we were excited about second swing and following along with when it was going on, is that Augusta National Women's Amateur Championship. And just first, even before we get into the experience itself, how about when you found out you'd be playing in that tournament, what went through your mind when you found that out?
Yeah, really surreal. I mean, I remember when Augusta announced that they were going to have that event. And I think in the back of my mind, that was like everything I wanted for 3 years. But
Yeah.
it's a really tough field to get in. You have to be top 30 in the U.S. That was the best way for me to get in. And I was floating at 35, 36 all year, and
Okay.
got to 31 by the spring. And then Rose Zhang, the U.S. amateur champion, was exempt. So I'm pretty sure in my mind I got one of the last invites out, and that was kind of carried me through the event. I just said, this is the biggest blessing, and I'm so grateful to even be here. So I just wanted to enjoy every bit of it. And what an awesome event. It was a memory of a lifetime for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that's the attitude probably that you want to have, especially, again, it's one of those courses, one of those events. It's so prestigious to have that honor is, you're going to be in the absolute, the 0.0000001% of, female golfers that will ever play at that golf course. And so with that said, your experience there was definitely a unique one compared to, I would say, most competitors in that field. Just given how things went down, you started off really hot, you had the weather delay and things like that. So, and maybe it's unfair of me to ask this, but can you summarize your experience, how the golf actually went in those couple of days there? Because I know it was kind of a roller coaster ride, if you will.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I got off to a really hot start, and we had the rain delay, and I was 4 under at the time, and my brother was caddying for me. So we were staying off our phones, trying to stay in it. And then they canceled the first day, or they, suspended play. And I couldn't believe the leaderboard. And I don't think my peers could either, like who's this girl from Nebraska? We've never, seen her up on a leaderboard with these names. I mean, I've been, I had a good college career, but we're talking girls from USC and Stanford and powerhouses of women's golf. So it was fun, and I had my 10 minutes of fame. I mean, there was cameras all in my face, and I said, "Hey guys, thanks for interviewing me, but I played 12 holes. I played some really good golf in 12 holes, but So then the next day, trying to come out and finish that round, and then so that second day I ended up playing 22 holes of pretty mediocre golf. The conditions are totally different. I mean, you went from 80 degrees to 50 degrees. The ball was flying shorter, and I tried to adapt, but I didn't do a very good job, and got into the playoff, lost in the playoff to play the final round at Augusta. But luckily I got to play Augusta in the practice round the next day. And so, yeah, it was a whirlwind of a week. And I think my attitude at the start still helped me when I was disappointed. Obviously I wanted to make the cut, but I told myself I was going to enjoy every moment. And for me to, be disappointed over one shot, I mean, it's out there, it happens. It's golf.
Well, and I can't imagine that's an easy thing for someone to process at an event like that when, was it 4 under through 12, and you're feeling really good about your game at the time. You're in a great flow, as you had talked about with your final round 64. Probably a similar feeling was going on, and then all of a sudden you have to stop and come to a screeching halt there, and then wait probably 12 hours or something like that to continue playing. And like you also mentioned, completely different conditions. So I have to imagine that was a pretty tough thing mentally to overcome, especially when, again, that flow stage that you experienced. I mean, that I don't know how you, as a competitor, try to suppress those feelings like, oh, I can shoot this, or worrying about the leaderboard and things like that. I can't imagine going through any of that mentally during that whole experience.
Yeah, it was definitely a learning experience. And I think, Augusta National is actually before Big Tens. And so I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like I had so much more in the tank. And then Big Ten's actually a month later, I finally got to finish, kind of to me what was a similar round.
Sure.
So it was great. And it was all about momentum. I mean, it's rain delays just make it hard. I mean, you see it on the PGA Tour, the LPGA Tour. It's, you're not supposed to stop for 3 hours and then play again. But it was a great experience. And I mean, Augusta National treated us so well. I couldn't believe what they put on for us women. And, it's only 70 of us, but they pulled out all the stops.
Yeah, well, that's awesome to hear because, I was I was going to mention, Augusta and, the Masters, right? It's kind of been a male oriented, event, country club for decades and decades. And, now recently, I think it was 2019 was the first edition of this event. So now they have this going on annually. I guess, being a very successful female player, having been invited to the tournament and played in it, what does it mean to you that, Augusta National is now hosting this event every year to, being that it is kind of the National, Girls and Women's in Sports Day, to kind of maybe to reflect on that and what that means for the game?
I think it's huge. Yeah, and that's something I kept in the back of my mind. I mean, only 140 or so girls have competed at Augusta National, and I can say I'm one of them. I mean, it's really special, but I want that number to be a lot higher. And I think the course sets up really well for women too. So that was awesome to watch my peers compete that last day. And but I think, yeah, I mean, realizing in golf where we are not doing women a service and then trying to right those wrongs, I think are really good. And, Augusta's doing a lot to try to figure out how they can empower women and as well as other brands. So I think it's great. I mean, I think for any little girl to see people that are competing at a high level on TV that are women and, pursuing their dreams in sports is really what it's all about. And we've had a lot more of that the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And then, moving on now. So you've played, you competed at a high level in college. And then, of course, the invite to the Augusta National Women's Amateur. In terms of turning professional, I think you kind of alluded to it earlier, but was there ever a doubt, or maybe there was a moment in time when you realized, I can and I will do this professionally at some point, or did it just kind of that stretch there where you played at Augusta and then you won the Big Ten, or did that kind of maybe trigger that decision a little bit for you?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of went a little bit day by day. I think definitely senior year or my 5th year, I practiced like I was going to play professional golf. And that was kind of my goal, is I wanted to, be ready for that level of competition by the time I came out, because really anybody can turn professional, but it's if you can make it through Q school, if you can get either on, a Corn Ferry or a Symmetra or so that was, I wanted to be able to really give it my all. And I think there's always doubts. I think every month there's doubts because girls are really good and we're not, I'm not competing against a small group. I mean, first stage of Q school was 350 women. So
Wow.
it's hard to tee it up that day and say, I'm better than everybody else, but you have to figure out how to convince yourself that you have something other people don't. So it's a daily battle, but I'm just happy doing what I'm doing. And so far so good. It's really meeting my expectations, and it's been great. And I'm learning a lot.
So, and you mentioned the Q school aspect, and so I know that's, maybe a term that is thrown out there for golf fans that, it's basically the way you get to the PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, but it's a very complicated and there's a lot of stages. So maybe walk me through the stages that you've gone through, that you competed through, what you maybe accomplished. And I think you mentioned 350 women are competing. So what's the process like narrowing that down to the, X number of women that do get to the next step?
Yeah, I'll try not to bore everybody, but it's first
Well, I mean,
stage
it's a
is
significant process in professional golf. I think. I mean, to get that understanding. I think it's pretty important because there's a glamorous side of professional golf. I guess maybe that's the right word, but you see on TV, you see on Golf Channel, and there's the other side where it's mini tours or Q school that is, I guess, a lot more stressful and a lot more intense, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. So I can kind of touch on my experience. First stage is Symmetra players who didn't play great, and then maybe LPGA players that didn't play well either, and then anybody else who's turning professional. And I don't think there might be a handicap requirement, but anybody can sign up. So it was 350 girls. We did 4 rounds, and there was a cut in the middle. So top there was one cut, and then there was another cut. I think maybe top 90 or so went to second stage.
Okay.
I played well that week. It was great, but I mean, it was Palm Springs in August, so they're like, hey, you might get heat exhaustion. I mean, we had carts, but I mean, getting 350 players around any golf course is kind of crazy.
Right.
So that was first stage, and then second stage, you move on. It's like, woohoo, you move on. This is great, but then more players from Tour join you. So more Symmetra girls, more LPGA girls that, based off their play, go to second stage. So second stage, then top 45 goes to third stage. I thought I was in, and then I dropped one below the cut line after 4 rounds, and there was a cut as well there. So, you have 3 stages, but there's a cut at each stage too. And then last stage is one of the most grueling tests in golf. I didn't get to go because I missed it by 1, but it's 8 rounds, a cut after 4 rounds, and then top 30 or so get their tour cards. So that's kind of the gist of it. That's in December. And then pretty much around the whole thing, those 350 girls and maybe 250 that are coming from Tour, we all get ranked at the end of Q School on our priority list. So that priority, however well we played, is when we get into the tournament. So, I have a certain priority on the Symmetra Tour, and I think it's a good number. I think I'll get in a lot of events and have pretty good status. But yeah, you're just trying to get better and better status to get in better events.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to think about how, for a professional golfer that's at kind of that point in their career, there's a lot riding on those, several rounds that you had referred to there. So with that said, I wanted to get your perspective too on the mindset of, competition between, maybe competing for your school or competing, maybe even it's just for the amateur event at the Augusta National versus, competing now in Q School where, there's money on the line and there's exemptions and there's status on the line. Is that different? Are you thinking about those things, or is it just kind of you're keeping your head down and you're hitting golf shots?
I think it's definitely different. I think, I could say it's just golf, but it's very different.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is the support group you have in college. I mean, you have coaches coming up to you, making sure maybe you're playing the hard holes well, or maybe your swing's in the right spot. But, and if you don't play well in college, it is, detrimental to your ranking, but, you're not going to look at your checkbook at the end of the round and say, oh crap, I can't pay for the next event. So I think it's a different mindset. I played 3 events on the WAPT tour in Texas last summer. It's a mini tour, but it's a pretty strong mini tour. And that was a good experience because mini tours, you have to play really well to, get your entry fee back or to pay for your hotel. So I think that was a motivating factor for me to see okay, I paid this much to travel here, and now I need to get top 20 or top 15 in order to feel like I was successful. And, I think some people don't play well under that pressure. I think so far, I mean, there'll be struggles in it, but I think I can handle it. I think I'm pretty realistic, and I want to stay out here. So that means I got to play well and make sure I can afford the next event. So it's been wild. I think Q School's really wild because you shoot, 476s that first stage, which, I mean, it's not great, but you have no status the next year. I mean, you've got nothing. So that was a lot of pressure, but I mean, I thought it was pretty fun to play at that stage and really go for it.
Well, it sounds like it was an eye-opener for you, but the fact that you're coming away, I know you have status on the Epson Tour this year, but then also you're coming away with it kind of excited about it, and, it was almost a thrilling thing for you to go through, which probably it bodes well for, the rest of your professional golf here moving forward. And so now the 2022 season for you starts upcoming, is it March, right? Epson Tour?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And that will be 20.
Yep,
I
we'll
think it's
be
like
in
21
Florida.
events, so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll be on the road, or I'll be on the road about 22 weeks between March and September. So kind of go 2 or 3 weeks on, 1 week off. So We traveled a lot in college, but it'll be more travel than I've ever experienced, and I'll be seeing a lot of the country.
Wow. Well, yeah, that sounds. I know we at Second Swing are going to be following along too. We're very excited to see what you accomplished there. But another accomplishment that I am very curious about that you've started on your own here actually. So you're a graphic design expert, and that's, I believe, is that what you went to school for at Nebraska, or I think that's right, isn't it?
Yeah, I majored in graphic design in college, so I graduated in May with that degree.
Okay, okay, because then you started a graphic design company or business, and you did it with Shane Bacon, who, for those who don't know, he's a golf commentator. I think he's on Golf Channel as a host now, and so Ground Under Repair Design is the company. How did this even come about? Getting connected with Shane Bacon and his interest in it, and of course your interest in you being the graphic designer yourself. How did this even start?
Yeah, I started logos under repair January 1. That was kind of my New Year's resolution in order to just do more graphic design content. So that meant that I redesigned every logo of the golf course I played in competition. And it got a
Oh
lot of
wow.
traction on social media, and I think Shane picked up on it, and I reached out to him because I was a big fan of his Get a Grip podcast with Max Homa. I felt like
Mm-hmm.
it was really educational and it helped my golf game a lot. So he reached out to me then, kind of late summer, and said, I've always wanted to get into design work and logos, and maybe we can kind of start a startup. And we had a couple clients at the time that we kind of did a test trial of how are we going to do this, and how's it going to work. And I think we're still going day by day, but it's been really fun. I mean, trying to learn how to run a business at my age, and I love his excitement for the brands that we're working with and the logos that we're doing. So he's been a great partner, and really a great guy that empowers a lot of golfers, and helps
Mm-hmm.
people get their recognition. And so I'm glad he chose me to work with, and it's been a lot of fun.
I mean, yeah, that sounds like well, it's very cool for you, right? Because you're pursuing golf, which is a big passion of yours, but also the graphic design piece, which is kind of one of your major interests as well. You get to combine them both, and now, in a way, they're both kind of your career for you. And so, how are you managing or planning on, I guess, balancing the two as you try to pursue both of them? Is there maybe I imagine just by the sake of by the nature of it, the golf is probably going to take a large chunk of your time up. So, how do you plan on balancing those two things?
Yeah, both are time consuming in their nature, but you can't golf when the sun goes down. So there's that. And then
That's a great
I
point.
found on the road, you have that 7 a.m. tee time. And I mean, I had it in the summer. I'm in middle of nowhere, Arkansas, and I don't know what to do with the rest of the day. I don't know the area. So if I have my computer, I can do some work. And obviously, not every time that's going to be the case, but you have a lot of time on your own when you're traveling. And in college, you had teammates and coaches to kind of keep you busy. But I think it'll be great, and it kind of takes the pressure off the golf. I think it's easy to be defined by what you shoot and things like that. But I can kind of have another passion that I can put some energy into that is a good distraction.
Very nice. And we should probably. I kind of want to let you almost kind of tell people that are watching, whether live or maybe they watch back on YouTube, how they can reach you or how they can follow your work, because it's a very cool startup that you've got working already here, and as you've alluded to, you put a lot of time into it. So if there's anybody watching interested in maybe working with you, how can they reach you?
Yeah, they can email me at kate@gurdesigns.com, or we have our Instagram, gur.design. That's where we post a lot of our work. And then I'm also on Instagram and Twitter. But yeah, we're working on a website right now, so trying to get a little more infrastructure up. But
Sure.
it's been fun, and we've gotten some clients through, pretty much everywhere. So it's whatever I can handle so far. But we do alternate logos for golf courses. We do logo redesigns for golf courses, and then a big thing we've been doing is kind of a cheaper package where we design custom logos for golf trips for people that, maybe you're going out to, Oregon, and you're taking 30 people and you're doing a tournament and you call it something and you want a logo for it. So that's been fun. It's been a fun project. Nice. That we do for people and get to know golfers around the area.
Well, it sounds like I might be contacting you because I have my own golf trip with my friends that we do every year. So I might be sending you an email on that.
Please. That's right up our alley.
Right, exactly. Well, Kate, as we kind of start to wrap up here, I did want to maybe ask a little bit more on your perspective in terms of growing the game. And again, with today, I know I've said it a couple times, but today is National Girls and Women in Sports Day, and we've talked a little bit about some of the things you've come across in your experience. But you are very clearly a successful woman in sports, and especially with golf, you kind of have had some of those experiences. You understand a little bit of maybe maybe added obstacles, maybe that's the right word, that women are going through to be successful. So if there is maybe a couple of ideas or maybe items that you have on your mind in terms of helping grow the game of golf, that you've thought of or think that would be beneficial for the game, I think it'd be great to get your perspective on that.
Yeah, I think clinics are great. I've been a part of a lot of clinics. I think making golf less intimidating. There's It's a lot different than other sports where you have to know a lot of ins and outs that I or you don't think about, as far as like where to stand on a green or how to rake a bunker. So I think golf courses doing their work in being able to allow newcomers out and create a safe space for them to learn and make mistakes is important. I think the last week was an interesting take with the PGA Tour being Wednesday through Saturday on TV. Obviously that was for football reasons, but then you saw that the Gainbridge had a lot of airtime on Golf Channel. So I think we're looking for more airtime. That's always fun to, I think, the Augusta National Women's Am, that'll be on in a couple months, and they get a lot of TV time, and that's really great for those women to be empowered like that. So I think there's a big level of brands and companies empowering women, and then also on the smaller scale of more women just coming out to the course and diversifying the sport a little bit. And I mean, I've seen it, I think, in the last few years that a lot more people are feeling welcome at golf courses, and I think that's the biggest part. And I think junior golf is a big help too, getting golf into schools and into those programs, so that they're familiar with it at a young age and know that this is something they can do, and something that they're encouraged to do. And I mean, there's so many opportunities for women in golf right now. And I tell any father or girl I see, like, hey, even if you don't go Division I, go Division III, become a teaching pro. Like, people want women in the sport. So it's a really great opportunity right now to get involved and find some success in it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I think I even noticed, just being in, our Minnetonka store, for example, is, over the last couple of years, kind of with people realizing golf is throughout COVID, something they can do safely outside, and, with kind of a low risk activity, is I think a lot more women have picked it up, a lot more women in terms of traffic in the store, getting fit. So it's definitely, I think it's for sure trending in the right direction there, getting more women involved, and then to your point too, more children and youth golfers involved as well. So before, Kate, I think before we wrap up, I did want to kind of give you and give the viewers as well a chance to maybe ask you a few questions, maybe just kind of these rapid fire type questions here in the last few minutes. And I do see we have a few already in the chat, and if there are any more, please feel free to ask those if you're watching on YouTube right now. The first one that I have here is from Sam. He's asking, what is your favorite club in your bag? I know, of course, we are an equipment channel, so
Yes.
what is the favorite club, or maybe a few clubs in your bag that you really are confident with?
Yeah, I just actually, my dad drove through Minnesota and picked me up a hybrid. It's a Titleist. Oh, it's the newest model of the hybrid, and it's a 19
Okay,
degree with a 10-say
nice.
shaft, and that thing is pretty reliable. So that's one of my favorites. I have a Scotty Cameron Phantom that matches my yellow golf balls, so I like that club too.
Oh,
I gotta
you
love
play
my
the yellow
putter
golf balls.
because
Nice.
that I do yellow Pro V1. So I
There
promise
you go.
they go just as straight as the white ones. So
That's right.
I
I
would
know
say
the
those
look
two
of that
clubs stand out.
Phantom. There's those yellow that trim on the design. That's a good
Yep,
match. I didn't even think of that
absolutely.
match actually. We also have one here. Top 3 favorite courses that you've played, maybe competition or otherwise.
Okay, I'm gonna throw out Augusta National because that's just I think
That's
that's a
probably
given. So I'm gonna do 3 other ones. Sahali in Seattle is a really cool course, and then I would say Northland and Duluth's always
okay.
one of my favorites. Very frustrating, but very fun. And then Sataquai Club in Los Angeles, California. It's a little outside LA. Is I think they're all really, really hard courses, and I that's my favorite.
Okay, interesting. I was gonna ask if you didn't have a Minnesota course in there, if you were gonna maybe have a top Minnesota course. But Northland, I've heard very good things. I haven't been up there yet to play that. But I'd like now with your endorsement, I might have to get up there.
Oh yeah,
Another
try
one
to get on
too
there. It's
that
pretty fun.
yeah, for sure. And another one that has come in here. In terms of your game, is there maybe one strength that you would consider in your game and one weakness, or are you kind of an all-around type of player?
I would say a strength is my ball striking. Mid to long irons is where I've been told that I make up the most strokes from my coaches and things like that. I think a weakness, I'm really working on my wedges, like 60 to 120 yards. I think if I can hit those a lot closer, I'll get a lot more scoring opportunities. So, yeah, trying to just round it out as much as I can.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that's what we're all trying to do, right? Just that some are at a very high level, like yourself, and some are like me and the rest of us that are, weekend warriors, trying to lower those scores just a little bit. And then, I think we did have one more here. Your favorite from John here. Your favorite tournaments to watch, men and women, on TV. I know now you're going to soon be playing in these tournaments, but what about watching on TV?
Yeah, I hope so. The Masters is up there. I would say the Masters and the British Open for the women and the men. I always like the ANA Inspiration for the women down in Palm Springs. They're actually moving that event to Houston the next couple of years. But yeah, then the U.S. Opens are always a great test. I think watching it at Olympic last year for the women was awesome, and there's a lot of great U.S. Open venues coming up in the next 5 to 6 years. So I think it'll be good viewing for all of us, and hopefully I'll be a part of one of them.
Oh yeah, I think I have confidence that you will, and we're definitely rooting for you here at Second Swing. And like I've said already a few times, but Minnesota native, we're a Minnesota-based company, and we're excited about your kind of journey so far, and excited about the success that you will have, and we're proud of that success too. And so as we kind of wrap up here, just wanted to thank you for the time today. Thank you for joining and sharing your experience. Again, at Second Swing, we're very excited about everything that you've accomplished and will continue to accomplish. And so, one more time, I did just want to give you a chance to bump Ground Under Repair Design and remind people of where they can reach you and follow you. We got the Instagram information up on the screen right now, too. So, to give you that chance one more time here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, if you guys are looking for logos or any design needs and are a golf nerd like Shane and I, reach out to us. And yeah, thank you, Drew. And I mean, I'm a professional golfer, and I only trust Second Swing with my fittings. I haven't ever been anywhere else, so I love the
That's
brand, and I
awesome.
love what you guys do for the community, and you know, providing a great space in Minnesota for people to find great golf clubs and great expertise. So appreciate the time, and it's been fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Kate, for joining, and good luck in 2022.